Hello everyone, it is Thursday, November 22nd, 2018. Of course, today is Thanksgiving, and if you chose to celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you had a really nice day, either eating lots of turkey or ham or watching football. And of course, yesterday being Wednesday was New Comic Book Day, so I'm going to show you what I picked up. It was not a really big week for comics this week, but I picked a few things up, and then I have a comment to make at the end of this video as it relates to the video I did last week. So let's jump right into the books, shall we? Justice League number 12, Down to Earth Part 3. Of course, there's a nice Joker right there. Black Badge number 4. I am enjoying this storyline here. X-Men 17 variant. Kind of a cool red cover there. Web of Venom, Carnage Born, number 1. Another really nice cover. I'm surprised it didn't have a lot more variants of this book. At least my shop that I go to didn't have a lot of the variants. So I was kind of surprised about that because lately if a new book comes out, they really pump the variants. And Carnage, Venom being what they are, you think they would have had a little bit more. Harley Quinn 54, the Cho variant. I kind of like these black and whites. They usually just put a little bit of color there in her hair, which I think is a really nice look on the books. So there was that one there. Really cool cover, of course. This is a homage to Brave and the Bold number 93, the famous Neil Adams cover. This is Adventures of the Super Sons number 4. And if you know that book I just talked about, you would know which one I'm talking about, where Batman's on the stairs, he's turning around, the hand's coming out with the little boy. Just a really, really cool cover. If you've never seen that cover, go ahead and take a look at it. Brave and the Bold number 93 from Neil Adams. Batman 59 cover A. Batman 59 cover B. One of the few B covers I picked up this week. I really like the way they're drawing the Penguin there. He looks really, really wicked, so I'm enjoying that art, you know, part of the Penguin. Cold Spots number 4. Of course, I have mentioned in the past my love for Betty Page, and this is a book that came out. It was a variant, a 1 in 10. Usually don't buy things like this as it relates. Well, I usually don't pay this much money for a variant, but it is a Betty Page right there, and I love Betty Page. To me, that is just a beautiful, beautiful woman, and one of the things I found interesting is that as she got older, she would not do interviews on camera or have her picture taken. She wanted to keep this image of herself in people's heads. And so she would just do audio interviews. So I thought that was a really cool concept. And one of the hot books that came out this week, of course, Scotty Young's new book, which is Middle West number 1. I have not read this, but I haven't read any of these books, but this is going to be the first one I read because I am looking forward to this one. This was the regular cover here. And I was able to get the 1 in 20 variant. This was the only one that my shop had, so I was very lucky to get this one right there. And this is already selling for between $35 and $60, but of course I don't sell certain things like that, and I'm keeping this one for myself. So that was pretty much what I picked up in new books. It was a really, really small week, and the only reason I spent a little bit of money is because of the 2 variants, the Scotty Young 1 in 20, which I got for a price, and then the Betty Page book. So other than that, wasn't a whole lot of super books that came out this week, but a decent little run. Now, last week I did a video and I spoke about the Great American Con that was here in Las Vegas, and one of my viewers took exception to that. Jason Howell, too, got a little upset about some of the comments I made about the show. Obviously, he had something to do with the show or even put the show on himself. And so some of the things I'm going to touch bases on is this. He made a comment as it related to signage where I said there were no signs up. Well, what happens is this. When I went to the show, I couldn't find any signs that said where the convention was. I parked in the front where the main halls were. There was an auto auction going on and a car show for Dodge that was going on. And they had signs all over the place showing the direction of those events. When I went around the corner, I had to go down to the end of the building, go around the corner to get to Hall B. I was able to find it easier on Sunday. There was still no signs. There was one little sign outside of the hall that said Great American Comic Con. So his response was, well, they didn't allow us to put signs out. Well, that's not true because the other events had signs put out. So there was, you know, knock number 1. I also made a comment as it related to the amount of people in line on Sunday, where I got there, they opened late because of the Stanley Memorial that they had. And I said there was about 40 people in line, and that was being generous. And he came back and said there was only 40 people in line because there was over 250 people inside the memorial. Well, there wasn't 250 people inside the memorial because I went to the memorial, and you were lucky if there was 40 people at the memorial. So you're throwing numbers out there trying to make yourself look better or the show better, however you want to do it. Bottom line is the show wasn't that great. You didn't have good artists. Now, the artists that they had were not terrible artists. They were older Bronze Age, Silver Age artists. Of course, Bellman, who I think is fantastic, iconic Golden Age artist who I was always happy to say hello to because he's just a super nice guy, and we're losing our Golden Age artists, are the big names. Those are names that people aren't going to be drawn to, okay? There was no big names. Now, a few years ago, the comic convention had Neil Adams, Brian Pulido, Romita Jr., they had Dan Mendoza, local artist here from Las Vegas, who of course does Zombie Tramp, and you had Joe Rubenstein, who did that nice Wolverine over my shoulder there. And the only reason I got that nice Wolverine is because no one went to that show either, and they weren't making any money, and so he gave me a nice Wolverine, and they haven't been back since. So this convention, same thing, you're grabbing artists who don't know anything, because if you have a bad show, these artists have to make money, and they come out here, and if no one's coming to their show and buying their items, they're not going to come back. And that hurts the industry, because when another person wants to put on a convention and they realize that it's in Las Vegas, these artists are going to say, well, you know what? I didn't make money the first time. Why am I going to use the expense to go back and do it again? Because even if they get paid to come out here, they're still an expense to bring their items, and an artist isn't going to do that. So that was knock number 2. Number 3, he complained that one of the reasons that his attendance was so slow and not that busy was because, and he even admitted that basically with his comment that he made, which was, we have a local store here in town, Torpedo Comics, and they had a signing where they brought in some pretty big artists, and he blamed them for his lack of input or his lack of interest in his show. Don't blame another comic book store who's having a signing in store, because they did the same thing for the last comic convention they had here. I can't think of the name of that show, but plenty of people showed up for that one because they brought they brought artists who actually wanted, who people actually wanted to see. So I'm real tired, so I'm just kind of slurring over my words. And so we went back and forth on that a little bit, and then he sent me another comment, and this is where you realize where the type of person that you're dealing with, who like pounds his fist like a little baby because you're saying something bad about him or his show because you're telling the truth. Now, I showed some of the books I picked up, and those of you who know those books know that they're, you know, not cheap books as it relates, because you always get a little bit more than book, because the 70s horror books sell really well. And I gave you prices that I bought for them, and they were really good prices. Now, I graded most of those books out already, and they all graded out. The lowest one I got was a 6.5, and I had a couple that were in the 8.5 range. A couple of the Thor books I got were in the 9.0 range, and I paid practically nothing for them. But his response to me on that was, he Googled the books. Okay, he Googled them. So if he's a big comic book guy, he shouldn't have to Google the books. He should know, if he's in the industry long enough, that certain books always get a premium and they're hard to find in higher grade condition. And he said he Googled the books, and I paid actual cost for the books, and they're really not worth anything. Okay, I don't know why he would say that. And he stated that because of that, I should just stop doing videos, because, what does it say? I should stop doing videos because people will think that I don't know what I'm doing, and then that just hurts the industry as a whole. So I should just stop doing videos because I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, I do know what I'm talking about, and the people who watch these videos know that what I'm talking about. And I've never said things without having backup on that. I started with the CGC grading videos I did years ago before anybody else was doing those videos, and I was public enemy #1 for saying that stuff, and the communities rallied around me, rallied against me, and they bashed me and said, how dare you talk about the mighty CGC? And we know how that ended. People are starting to see now the things that I was saying 4 to 5 years ago about grading. So same thing here. The bottom line is, if you do a bad show, you're hurting the industry. And if you're going to be the person who slams his fist like a little baby because you don't like what's being said, either A, fix the problem, because your comment about people making tons and tons of money at this show was incorrect, because people weren't making tons and tons of money. And I've spoken to a ton of people locally who went to that show, and they all said the same thing. There was nothing there. They didn't have fun. It wasn't a good show. And they didn't make money. So I'll believe the people selling than the person putting on the show. So that was kind of an individual rant. I apologize to the viewers for that. I usually don't do something like that. But, you know, I don't like people who say things without having any backing or try to defend something that everybody knows is bad. Okay, and then you question my knowledge and my standing in the local comic book market here in Las Vegas and make it sound like, you know, I'm just some evil guy. Well, the bottom line is I know a hell of a lot more than most people, and a lot of people understand that. And I'm here for what's good. I want whatever's good for the industry and whatever's good for the market, because I want to see this industry and market thrive. And I know you, the viewers out there who watch these videos, for the most part, understand that pretty much what I say is pretty accurate as it relates to older books or things that are coming out. And I thank you for that, okay? And again, you don't have to always agree with what I say. I'm never saying that you have to agree with what I said. You know, you're going to give it a thumbs down video. That is your right to do that. It doesn't cost me any sleep. I'm going to continue doing these videos. So that's pretty much all I have to say right now. Of course, tonight is Black Friday, or it's supposed to be a Black Friday, Black Thursday. If you're going out, please be careful. Drive carefully, because it's a holiday season. People drink. I don't want anybody to get hurt out there. I usually don't go out during the holidays because of the idiots on the road. But I hope you liked the video. But if you didn't, as always, nothing I can do for you. Have a great, great night, and I'll see you real soon.